be the second guy out of work if we don't have grass on our golf course come October 8th or 10th. But my name is Ken Krober. I'm head of the Green Committee, and a very enjoyable task because I work with a lot of great people. I would like to discuss today briefly a much smaller project, and that's the regrassing of the fairways and some of the roughs of the golf course. I'd like to cover the issues today in terms of the scope of the project, the schedule, as well as some proposed, what I call opportunistic, if I could pronounce it, improvements. Let me step back a little and just review how this project came about. For a number of years, about over the last 3 or 4 years, there's been a growing dissatisfaction with the Bermuda 419, which is currently on the course. Specifically during season, we had the fairway growth was poor, it was very much weather dependent. We have 10 fairways and rough areas that are partially shaded, which obviously inhibit growth. A lack of proper growth in roughs is the result of that. We have a proliferation over the last few years of growth of off types. That's any grass growing where it shouldn't be growing. And our collars and approaches we feel are weak. And on a number of the holes, specifically on holes 1 and 3, we have drainage problems. Last summer we established a subcommittee to look into these issues and develop a strategy and in the end a recommendation. We also initiated a program of 5 test grasses, 419, Tiff Grand, which was featured on hole 1, Celebration on 2, something called Diamond Zosia on 15, and of course we have the Platinum Paspalum, which we have been adding to the golf course over the last 4 or 5 years, most noticeably on the tees. The subcommittee, as well as other members of the Green Committee, conferred with superintendents of local courses who recently regrassed. And obviously we took advice from our consulting golf course architect, a chap named Gordy Lewis. We also analyzed, through the good work of Jimmy Alston, various turf types against 43 agronomical factors. And from all this, and it was well over a good 6-7 month period, the committee came up with a recommendation and a proposal. And basically, the key recommendation was that all fairways and needed roughs be regrassed with Celebration grass, and that the collars, all collars at all 18 holes be regrassed with Diamond Zoysia. You may notice that on 15 this year, sort of a darker, more velvet type of grass. At least we feel very nice. The last time the golf course was regrassed was the 2003-2004 period. Now the reason for selecting Celebration is its durability, color, its vigor. It has a better shade tolerance. It's less weather dependent. It will grow somewhat in colder weather. 419 sort of stops at 70 degrees and below. Importantly, ease of installation. They use a no-till method, which is a much more efficient and simpler way to implant the springs, as well as it's a lot cheaper. The cost of Celebration is about 1/10 the cost of the Paspalum, which we have on our tees. I don't know why the manufacturer hasn't figured that out yet, but he has. The diamond zoysia for the collars was selected basically for its density, uniformity, again, vigor and color. It is shade tolerant. If you notice on the shaded area on 15, you get very consistent good growth. And I think that inhibits or improves, inhibit the putting off collar or the chipping. It is expensive because it is a sod application, and the graph itself is expensive. Expensive in terms of the 419 or the Celebration. You can't put Celebration next to your green because Celebration is an aggressive grass, and it will grow into your green. We have a Tiff Eagle which could be damaged, but there is a herbicide that you can apply if needed that kills Celebration in diamond zoysia. The wonders of science. We'll take advantage of it. This recommendation was approved by the board, and so the scope of the project that will be done this summer is a no-till Celebration will be installed on all 30 acres of the fairways. We have approximately 30 acres of fairways. However, in our original thinking, we thought that we would include the driving range or the middle of the driving range. The two ends of the driving range have the paspalum grass, and obviously that would stay. However, in thinking it through with leaving some degree of activity open for the residents who will be here, the driving range will not be included, so it will be open for the season, for the summer. All tees that are currently Bermuda 419 will be regrassed with Celebration. However, we will not have any tee renovations. By renovations, that is the expansion of the tee boxes this summer. We will pick up on that program next year. And all collars, approximately about an acre, will receive the diamond zoysia. The rough area on the right side of hole 1, we're going to do the entire right side of that. That's a shaded area, and I'll touch upon some other proposed improvements to hole 1 in a minute. Anything that's left over in terms of grass, we'll put it in the nursery. Now, the estimated cost of this project is $125,000. Approximately 35 acres of the Celebration grass runs about $63,000. An acre of the diamond zoysia, $37,000. The growing expense is about $25,000. I'm pleased to report that we have signed contracts in hand at these estimated costs, so they're no longer estimated. These will be the costs, and that's the grass installed. There is, however, an additional lost revenue factor, approximately $90,000, as a result of loss of rounds during the period in which the course will be shut, and the loss of 2 events that were scheduled that were subsequently canceled. In terms of the schedule itself, you can see the distribution of rounds by month. Obviously, June, July, August, and September, and the part of October in which the course would be shut. It's about 14% of the annual rounds played here at Eagle Creek. We track this as a part of our master plan development. This and many other factors about course usage. This has been tracked over a 3-year period, so it's pretty consistent. You can see that 75% of the activity is from November 1st through April. This is the actual schedule here, and if I can find it, if I can turn it on, and if I can walk and talk at the same time, yeah, here we go. Yes, I can do that. What we have here is we're going to do a slicing, a reticent slicing, which is nothing more than softening up the fairway with some tills that go down. It may cause a little less ball roll, but you're not going to notice that very much when this starts, and that's going to start around May. I have there, May 18th. Yeah. The course was shut the same time that they're tearing down the building over here on the 15th of June. We will go into a herbicide treatment immediately on that. Let's see, I can't even read my own writing here, so let me step back here if that's all right. Here we go. Let me read it off here because it's not coming off. If I can't read it, you can't read it.
Treatment number 1,
I have to pick it up to read it. One of the disadvantages of not running through your slides, and I'll blame Don Calavecchio for this. Where are you, Don? We have a herbicide treatment, then we're going to do a summer aerification starting in late June. Normally an aerification is where they punch holes in the turf. There are 3 applications. They were normally done in September. Obviously, we want to do it before we do the regrassing project. We'll continue with the herbicide. There are 3 overall herbicide treatments. We will start the sodding of the collars in late July, and the celebration sodding via the no-till is only going to take about a week to do all 18 fairways. It's remarkable how fast that is. They come in, they've got the machinery, they bring the grass in, throw it into the machine. It takes the sprigs, punches the sprigs, and puts it right in the ground. That's it. It's quite a remarkable project, method. Now, we have a growing period of 8 to 10 weeks. And that 8 to 10 weeks is pretty much what we have heard from all our visits to the other area courses that have used celebration. And that's at the end of 8 to 10 weeks. That's on the course in carts. Remarkable. And, but for those who have played the Island Club or Windermere and other courses that have gone through this process, if you have spoken to their superintendents that we have, it is a very consistent story that 8 to 10 weeks you're on the course. And so we only have one other person we have to deal with in meeting that schedule. That's Mother Nature. You know, we get a hurricane going through here, or a few sinkholes, or what have you, that could delay. But based on what we understand and what we have heard from others who've gone through the process, that's the considered time period. So that's a schedule. I wish you could read it, but that's what it is. You've got to kill off the grass, and you have to put in the new grass. That's really the process. And in reality, the regrassing of our fairways is not too much different than changing the color of the paint in the outside of your home. You just hope for good weather. And it's when you start reconfiguring holes, changing the design of a golf course, where it gets very time consuming and obviously very expensive. Also, we were able to confirm with the superintendents that we spoke to that our costs for this project were right in line with their costs. So that's a confidence factor. And Jimmy, we're buying good grass?
Yes, sir.
Hey, good. You know, there are variations. There are 3 variations of celebration. And we are buying the, what is it? Yeah.
Foundation.
Foundation, that's what it is. Thank you, Jimmy. I'd like to take you through something that is proposed. We're in the final period now of proposing some changes to holes 1 and 3, pardon me. And we have some issues with these holes. The first is on hole 1, we have a drainage issue. There's insufficient drainage or catch basins for the water to properly drain, which creates puddles and low spots in the fairways. There used to be a bunker on the right side mid-fairway. Over the years, for whatever reasons, that bunker was removed and it was made part of the cart path as a waste area. That's just about where most people land their ball on the right side, and it rolls into the preserve. And we also have a uneven height of a cart path, which causes a fair amount of there's a rough wear, which sounds redundant, but it's not. We're talking about fairway rough and wear on it from carts going up sections that range from anywhere from 3 to 6 inches. On hole 3, we have a drainage problem as well, and the former right side bunker was also converted into a waste area, also resulting in what we classify as unfair roll-off. A golf course should be challenging, but it shouldn't be unfair. These 2 holes, in our own opinion, have some unfair elements to it. If you look at the here we go. We got existing hole 1. We're really talking about, you've got an area here where the cart path comes in a little too far. This is a landing area, this is about 150 area off the, I guess you'd say the white tees. Up here, you're getting near the 200. This used to be a bunker here. And the cart path also cuts in here. And there's also a little place over here where I constantly would hit a ball and rolls and goes in here. But this is relatively things that have crept into the course over years. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. So let's go to the next slide. What we recommend here is to add 5 catch basins to improve drainage, move the cart path closer to the preserved boundary line. We have some wiggle room there, not a lot, but some wiggle room. Raise the level of the cart path to take out the humps from that exists now, and take the waste area of the former bunker and make it a rough area. In other words, fill it in and make it part of the rough. And add gentle rolls along the right side to improve playability. That's important. You go to the next slide, which is this is a slide that shows hole 1. Up here is the green. And it is our architect did this, and it shows all the various elevations in it. You can't see them because they're fine dry, but this is what is proposed. This is our current catch basin, this little red dot here. You have 1. Well, it's recommended we add 5 and drain it off, drain wastewater off into the preserve. There are some undulations and elevations here which would help get drainage on both sides of the course. The second thing would be to take about the 30-foot area that exists here and make it a rough area, take the bulge out here, and run the cart path closer to the preserved line. So that's the proposed improvements to hole one. Let's go to the next slide. This is existing hole three. This is where the bunker was at one time. Now it is a waste area. Your long ball hitters